Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from Newsroom Pro, and welcome in to a deeper look at an op-ed, an opinion piece that's come to us from Geoff Ross, who is the executive chair of Moa Beer. You might have drunk some, I have, it tastes good. And also the founder of 42 Below, a great marketing success story in New Zealand. And Geoff, you've got an idea on how New Zealand could promote itself post-COVID-19. Tell us what you've been thinking.
Yeah, well, look, the idea came from a couple of observations, actually a few observations. One was the growing relative importance of the primary sector. I heard a BNZ call that said the primary sector is going to move from early 50s as a percentage of our export earnings to over 70% as tourism contracts. That was observation one. Observation two during this whole crazy time was that more and more we're using digital devices like this, for instance. They'll become a bigger part of our life, as has social media, and it's unlikely to drop back. And the third and final observation was New Zealand, it was actually four, I'm going to broaden it to four, was that New Zealanders want to help during this time. And the fourth, and perhaps the most important one in all this, was that when I speak to my friends overseas, a lot of them are saying, wow, I'd love to be in New Zealand right now. You guys seem to have got this right. What a great place to be. And so it was from those four observations that we put this idea together of, well, hang on a sec, if people can't come to New Zealand right now, maybe we can bring New Zealand to them. Maybe we can take our products to them, and maybe we can do it via social media. And as we all want to help right now, maybe we can all get behind it. So that was a little build up.
But there's only 4 million of us, and we've all got 3 Twitter followers. How on earth are we going to tell everyone? Or maybe we have a bit more, a few more people watching than we thought.
Well, this was the surprising thing. I've spoken a lot with Facebook here in New Zealand and offshore, and we worked out that New Zealand has, among our friends and followers, etc., we have over 1 billion friends and followers of this country. So if we count you and I, but then probably some people who have bigger friends and followers than you and I, let's go with Jacinda and Taika, let's go with brands, some of our famous brands, celebrities, sports people. If you add all of those up, you get to a billion. And that's a pretty big audience for our country.
So you've got potentially 1 billion people who could listen to our message. How do we get the message out there and make sure it's the same message, the one that we all want to get out?
Yeah. Well, look, this is the idea. I've started speaking with a bloody good little digital agency because you introduced this as an opinion piece, and like Rod Jury, which I saw on this very forum, what I loved about Rod's piece was that it was actually more than just an opinion piece. It was almost a do piece, like he was putting up his hand. So, and I love the urgency with what he was going at it with. So, look. In our view, how this would happen is we pull together, we've got some great government agencies like New Zealand Tourism, like New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, and they know all the exporters, right? So we identify all the export brands, we put a relatively modest budget together from those brands pro rata to their export. Government match it, government want to help, and then we, New Zealanders, we all get behind it. So you've got something in New Zealand I'm sure you love. It might be a particular venison recipe, or it might be a kiwi fruit dessert, or it might be some Whittaker's chocolate, it might be a Moa beer that you want to share with your mates overseas. I know I do, I'm sure all of us, we're kind of quietly proud as New Zealanders of what we have here, and I think we'd be happy to share it. So that's who we group together, and that's what we get doing.
And we'll have some help in theory from Facebook and Instagram, and some of that money will be used around the traps to promote the message. But tell us about what's going on there with Facebook.
Yeah, so fortunately, the creative director worldwide for Facebook happens to be a New Zealander, a very successful chap called Mark Darcy. So I've spoken to him, spoken to the local Facebook and Instagram people. They're connected also to the digital body, I guess, which would include Snapchat, Instagram. And we can connect that also with sites like Newsroom, who have a lot of followers offshore, and our other online media portals to the world. We use all of those social platforms. It's all pulled together by our friends at Facebook with a digital agency overseen by someone like New Zealand Trade and Enterprise. And it's a relatively simple structure, really. posts are started by you and I, by Jacinda, by Taika, and then they're fueled with some paid posts, and then ideally fueled with some key, I guess, mega influencers offshore. Let's identify some big food and beverage writers offshore who could put a good word in for us as well.
And so we're talking potentially maybe a trial sum of $10 million. Let's say if the government matched that, you'd get up to $20 million. And I understand Facebook and Instagram, who are not short of a few US dollars in their cash pile, are also keen to help out as well.
They'd help out in kind, for sure, with a lot of time, and also importantly, campaign measurement and targeting, right? So if you've got a little recipe on lamb cutlets, we know that Silver Fern likes to send lamb cutlets to China. So they're going to boost that message for us in China. So they're going to tailor a particular message about a particular product to a relevant market. So we know our exporters are getting their message into the right marketplace.
So what could we say to people? Are we saying, hey, we've got great stuff? Or I see in your piece, you're saying, we're bringing New Zealand to you.
Yeah, that's the proposition, and it's based on that insight that if the world can't come to New Zealand right now, we'll bring New Zealand to you. And so that's the simple line, I guess, that can wrap it all together. There might be some creative people who can sharpen up that line and make it a little bit edgier, but for now, that seems to describe what we want to do, and I think describe what we as New Zealanders would be proud of doing. So look, these things can just start in a pretty organic way, really. And my suggestion is if we start posting tonight when we're cooking our dinner or opening a bottle of wine or whatever we're proud of it as our little slice of New Zealand, and we start saying we're bringing a slice of New Zealand to you, you can whip down to Tesco's and grab your lamb or your bottle of wine or buy it online if you're in France and all those types of things. Then that's a way of getting a greater demand for our products offshore.
So just thinking about today for yourself, what products will you be eating, drinking, that you will say to people, here's this slice of salmon or food of some sort that you've just eaten? Because I understand you're talking to us from down south where there's...
Lake Hawea Station at Lake Hawea, obviously. So look, well, my thought today, just looking out the window in front of me here, it's a little cooler today, so I'll probably put on a merino sweater. And so that might be my post today. And there's plenty of ways around the world of grabbing a slice of New Zealand merino, whether it be through brands like Icebreaker or Mons Royale, or a fantastic new startup called Sheep Inc., where you not only buy some New Zealand merino as a sweater, you adopt a sheep from that particular farm. So yeah, that could be my little prompt today.
And any other food around where you live that you'd like to promote or eat? I've got my eye on some sort of river sea caught fish, maybe.
Look, I think what food-wise I'll be looking at today, I know Silver Fern Farms, I do a fantastic job exporting, and so maybe some lamb or maybe some venison. I've just been stealing a recipe out of Al Brown's cookbook. So maybe if I post a venison stew, which I have actually just made, put it in the crockpot this morning, tag Al Brown, perhaps he can join in and give me a hand, and we'll put a few food recipes to the world with New Zealand ingredients in them.